Hey everybody, this is Pat, and today we're going to be interviewing Tony Goertz and checking out his amazing 4-seat Prowler. Okay, so we're back again here with Tony Goertz, and this time we are going to see his 4-seat Prowler that he just brought out and got it dusted off for us, ready to go. And so I did see, you sent me a few pictures of what it took to build this thing. So before we get into that, I guess what gave you the idea to do this car in the first place?
Well, back in, I'm going to think 99, I've got an article someplace. Mopar Action magazine did a front page layout of a 97 Prowler. Nice purple one on front. It was beautiful. The next month, they came out and they had a picture of the yellow Prowler, and they called it something like Family Prowler or Mom's Edition, and it had 3 seats in the back. It had been stretched. It's a yellow Prowler, and they went through all the details on it. How much cargo space it had. It had little suicide doors on the back, and that it was all set for the Family Edition Prowler. And the very last line of the article said, "It'll be available at your dealer April 1st.
Really? Okay.
Which was April Fool's Day.
Oh, of course.
When I contacted them, the whole thing was a hoax. That idea stuck in my head all these years.
Okay.
And it just never went away. I thought it might be something cool to try.
Okay. So when did this build actually begin?
2008.
Okay. Oh, so you've had it that long. Okay.
2006. Yeah. Long time ago.
Okay. So was the car that you used for this to begin with, was it one that you already owned, or did you buy this one in preparation to do this build?
Well, this car that you see, the trunk lid's original, the hood, the side panels original, wheels, fenders, everything's original. I bought it in February of the year I built it. And I can't remember when that was. And what I had done before that was I had an extra tub. So I had taken the tub and cut it in half to find out how it was structurally, because you can't just go blindly ahead.
Right.
And I mocked up with my grandson. He's in one of the pictures sitting in the back seat, how much we needed to stretch it, because he was pretty tall, to give him enough leg room to sit in the back.
Okay.
And I mocked up the doors, and I had that done for, months. And I kept thinking, well, the car's no good unless I can figure out a way to do a roof, because I'm not going to go stretch a car. You can't go anywhere without a roof.
Right.
So I finally came up with an idea to try with a roof, and the folding mechanism worked. So in middle of February, I flew down to Atlanta, bought this car on eBay, drove it home, and beginning of June, we took it to a car show. And a week later, we took it to the event in Maryland.
Okay. And I got to see that in person in 2017 when you took it to the 20th anniversary. I did get to see it there in person. I wish I could have had a ride in it. I hope someday to do that. I'm curious how well the ride is. Is it just as structurally sound as it was before?
The structure is nice and solid. Actually, what works well with them is the way the body is bolted to the frame. Mm-hmm. They strengthen each other.
Okay.
Right? It's almost like a web.
Okay. Yeah, I saw the photos you sent me of when they were redoing the frame there. It kind of looked like it was a bit of like a zigzag pattern across the beam there. Yep. To kind of attach them together. Was that done that way to help, to make it, that was to add to the structure to make it more strong?
Yeah, you didn't want to just cut it square because that'll cause a break point.
Right.
So I put the zag in the frame, but
okay.
Yeah, everything else looks. There's my headrest that I talked about today.
Yeah, I
were
was going
from
to
the
ask you. Yeah, so I was going to ask you about that when you mentioned you took the headrests out of your Hemi Prowler. Now, obviously, you had to get two whole additional seats from another car. How come the other two seats didn't already have their headrests?
Well, these seats came from another great Prowler owner by the name of Tom Mills. I think everybody knows him.
Oh, yep.
And, he had a set of seats that he had redone for his Woodward. And I had a set of foam cushions, but I didn't have the leather. And when he redid his seats, he ended up with leather off of a set of seats. So
Okay.
I made seats out of them, put them back together, and never had a
Okay.
headrest.
Okay. So other than those seats, then how many other parts were actually from another car? Because obviously there's a lot of custom made body panels on here, but how many other parts actually had to be salvaged from another car?
Well, I used doors from another car and the long, what do you call them? The running boards,
Okay.
the door
Well,
sill.
okay, so you didn't actually just take the old ones off of the existing car and redo them? You actually took it from a different car?
Oh, some of each.
Some of each. Okay.
Right. I had some pieces, so like these doors, you needed a donor car to stretch.
Right. Okay.
So
Okay. Well, why don't you go
did
ahead and
that.
open up go ahead and open up the door there. Obviously, probably everybody knows by now that you've got these as the Lambo doors. Now, I'm curious why you decided to actually still keep, I guess I would have thought was it easier to do this to stretch one door than maybe to make it four doors?
Well, to make it four doors, there's door posts and pillars, and I didn't think I could handle that challenge.
Okay. Yeah, I was
And
that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, obviously, that's why you never see typically a convertible that has four doors, because structurally there's, that doesn't work very well. It's not a good place to.
and I didn't want another little post to like the small Camaro or Mustangs that had a two-door and jump in the back seat.
Right.
You could never get in the back seat without folding the front one and this kind of nonsense.
Now, did you also put the Lambo door design into it though? I mean, did it have just regular doors when you had the car?
When I first started, it just had regular doors.
Did you now the typical kit for making the Lambo doors is expecting a door that's a lot smaller than that. So did you have to add any more reinforcement to be able to allow, because the struts holding that up have to be stronger, I would think, to hold that much door, right?
The shocks in the doors,
yeah,
to hold them up, I had custom made in British Columbia.
Oh, okay.
Found a shop there that does cylinders, because they both had to be longer and stronger.
Okay.
Because I've seen a lot of Lambo doors, and most of them do not go up straight. Most of them are at about 50 degrees.
Yeah, actually, can you show that? Yeah, can you show that? Because one of the videos I did recently was with James, he bought the orange Prowler that Yuri didn't buy, and he showed me how his doors opened, and his actually opened pretty far out before he lifted it up. So I'm curious on this one if it's similar.
These still work both ways.
Okay, so you can open it that far.
Oh,
wow, that opens up really well.
It wasn't really an issue of needing the Lambo doors to get in the car when I first made it.
Yeah.
It was kind of strange. You opened the door and then you walked up to it, but now with the Lambos, they still work both ways.
Okay.
And
but that allows you to have it, so you have a tighter fit. You can open the door without hitting the car next to you.
Yeah, when you get locked in a parking lot once,
you
find out that these doors are pretty handy.
Yeah, I bet. Can you get a little closer so we can see the extension on there on the door? Now, obviously, you didn't change any of the interior panel, but how did you redo the door jamb and all that? I mean, you had to take all that out and redo the door jamb, or did you just use the old door jamb?
I moved the back of the door, basically stretched the door, so your latch and everything is still at the very top.
Okay, so that's the same latch. It's the same latch it had before, just
same latch and everything as before.
Okay, and you added a speaker?
Well, that's a nice speaker in there, isn't it? That's actually just a cover to get at the insides in case you have to get at the latch.
Oh, okay, so that's not really a speaker.
Not really a speaker.
Oh, okay, well, you fooled me. Yeah, you fooled me. Okay.
It could be if you wanted one, but I never did.
No, that's fine.
You need an access in there somehow. And
Right. So who did the, I mean, obviously the doors here on the outside. So go ahead back around to the outside again, just to see the outside of the door. So who did the custom work there? I mean, clearly that looks so seamless. How did you get somebody to get the body panel to extend like that without even?
I made the doors.
You did the doors. Okay.
I don't do paint. So I had a body shop finish the doors and paint them.
Okay.
I did the same thing with the rocker panels.
Okay.
I made them, had a body shop finish those and paint them.
Okay. So when you said you made them, I guess a little more, I mean, how did you actually make them? I'm totally a novice on this, so I'm just curious how you had the parts and what materials did you use? Because it's kind of it's that plastic material that they use for the rocker panel, right?
I found some really good two-part epoxy adhesive made by Lord Company, and it's used by Chrysler and other programs. So when I made the quarters, to get the shape and the angle right, you actually split them lengthwise and cut slots in them.
Okay.
And then I just glued them all back together because the glue is better than body fill. And I basically used it as body fill, and then afterwards they put a skim coat of body fill and paint.
Right. Okay. So the doors were aluminum. So is your extension still more aluminum?
It's all aluminum.
Still all aluminum. Okay.
Yeah.
So on the inside, you just bolted it on, to the existing door, and that was all handcrafted. I mean, you handcrafted the interior part of the door, the aluminum.
Yep. I don't know if it's stubbornness or stupidity, but
well,
we just plug away. One of the hard things to do is the Prowler body tub is made with a type of rivet that is out of this world. It's not like a pop rivet that you normally know. And when they put them in, the easiest way to get them out is to cut a hole around them. You can't even drill out the rivets. They're that hard and that strong.
Okay.
So to get them out of the way without damaging the whole body and everything else was probably the hardest part.
Okay, so you were mentioning that the tub, obviously the tub itself, you had to cut that in half and extend that. Is it all aluminum in the new part of the tub as well?
Yeah, we cut that one off the exact same way, and put in new panels like the center console hump.
Yeah, I see that there.
That all got extended out of a heavier gauge aluminum than original. And again, I did that for structural strength,
right? Because
Chrysler only needed, a bump in there, but I used that to make a heavy center column like the old Volkswagens were made. The old Volkswagens always had a center hump, and it was actually the structure to the whole car. Okay.
Now I'm noticing the seat belts there that you had to do on the front seats. So that's a custom piece that you put in there. So how does that, I guess structurally or safety wise, is that just as good as where it would have been before?
Their seat belts, I don't think they've been engineered, but I remember about an 85 GMC Blazer had seat belts that were on the seats. The exact same way. So it was good for GMC. In 85, it was okay for me.
Okay. So which seats actually which seats are the original from the car, the front or the back?
The fronts are original.
Okay.
And the backs are actually just the cushions, and they're mounted on custom-made frames to hold them in place.
Oh, okay.
Because you don't have room for all the steel mechanism and everything else.
Okay. Yeah, so they can't recline or move like the front ones would, right?
No. They're stationary.
They're stationary. Okay. So obviously the next big question is underneath. So obviously the drive line and the drive shaft and the muffler and all that had to be redone, right?
Everything had to be stretched. I think there's about 50 wires that go from front to back, and you have to put a piece in each one. So
Okay.
that's 2 solder joints
Oh my
for
God.
every wire.
Okay.
Fuel lines, brake lines, everything. You
Yeah.
name it. They
Okay.
all had to be extended.
Yeah, it's too bad you don't have a lift that we can see the underside of there. Or do you have any good photos of that? Did you get good photos of that when it was being worked on?
Actually, there's not much to see. The only thing that is kind of different is how you have to stretch your drive shaft,
Okay.
and everything else, like the lines and stuff, are just longer brake lines, longer fuel lines.
Okay.
There's really not too much to see under there.
So is the muffler just shifted? I mean, is there longer pipes in there? The muffler itself is the same muffler?
Same muffler, just put an extension pipe on, I think it's on the front. I'm not even sure, front or back. I just put
Okay.
a 20-inch extension because the whole car has been extended 20 inches.
Right. Okay. So how does this car, from a mileage standpoint and all that, I mean, did it hurt the mileage quite a bit? I mean, does it take a lot more gas to run this thing?
It really doesn't. Because of the wheelbase now, when you get in and you drive, it handles like a limo. It doesn't
Really?
handle like the short go-kart Prowler anymore.
Really?
You
Okay.
honestly instantly sit back and go into cruising mode.
Okay. So
And
did you change out other things in this car to modernize it, like updated tires and that sort of thing? Obviously, you took the bumpers off.
no, bumpers are off. They're still old tires.
Oh, so
They
you
look
still have
like
the
some
original
of the,
tires on there?
they're not the original ones.
Oh, okay.
I think I put these on just after I finished the car. They were
Okay.
new then,
Okay.
but they're old already too.
Okay. What type of tires are they?
These are the original Goodyears.
Well, that's what I mean. So you're saying these are still the original? They weren't the original on this car when you got it, but they're another set of Goodyear run flats?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So
Another set of Goodyear run flats.
now they kept making the run flats till about what, like 2008, I think. I think Goodyear kept making them until then before they finally stopped making them.
I can't remember. It's a long
Yeah.
time ago. These
Okay.
are probably over 7 years old.
Okay. That's what, well, yeah, obviously the car's now,
Yeah.
But yeah, which one was it? Was this a 99
This
originally?
was a 99.
It was a 99 originally. So, but the tires, so you still have the run flats on there, and you're saying the ride is better? I mean, still, because with the run flats for me were totally unmanageable. I mean, I really could not handle the ride as they were before. So you're saying you can't really notice it as bad now?
Right. When we took it up to, I went to Maryland with it, and it ran down the interstate fine there. And the 20th anniversary up in Michigan, I drove it up there, and it just goes down the road like a dream. It's actually surprising.
So how many miles has this thing had on it since you did the stretch?
I'm going to say close to 10,000 now. It's
Okay.
70,000 miles on it.
Oh, how many did it have originally?
I think about 60 when I bought the car.
You had about 60,000. Okay.
And it's got 70 now, so I'm going to think about 10,000 miles.
Okay. Well, why don't we go ahead and show how the top works? I'm curious to see how that fits in there.
I sent you a picture of the with the top
I saw
up.
that. I saw the picture with the top up. I don't know if it's possible for you to do it with one hand and hold the camera.
There's not a hope in hell I can put the top up and hold the camera.
Okay.
And
that's fine. That's fine. Well, can you just go ahead and open up the trunk though?
Yeah,
let's take a look at it folded in there. Yeah, I guess I should not expect you to be able to lift it up, but okay. Yeah, so that's impressive that much more, can fit in there with that. And clearly that was all custom made as well, right? You took an existing top and made all the additional pieces yourself?
Yeah, the original top, and you can see a picture of it online.
Yeah.
And it was Deep Creek, the Deep Creek event. And at that time, we had just made a quick canvas top. I had a piece of canvas, and we put it over top and sewed it together on Wednesday afternoon and went to a car show on Saturday.
Okay.
So no time used. And to be honest, the fabric didn't match. It looked pretty crude. and it kept me out of the rain that whole trip because it rained a lot.
Okay.
And last year, I said this was long enough. I had time. I redid the whole top, front to back, put in the Prowler logos in the rear quarters in the top, and finally finished it the way I had always hoped to.
Okay. So now the fact is though, is that because of the design, you've got probably the biggest blind spot of any car. Unfortunately, when that top's up though, right? I mean, it's there's a lot of, I mean, the people in the back seat, if there's somebody in the back seat, they have no window.
No, they don't have a window.
No.
Absolutely not. So it's not made. If it starts to rain,
Yeah.
you put the top up, and you go for dinner.
Okay. So you really don't. Okay, people could still ride in it with the top up, but wouldn't be much fun for them in the back seat.
I wouldn't. If you're going to be out with the car, you're not using it as a daily driver.
Right.
And it's just to get you out of the rain. If that means go back to the hotel or stop someplace, you're on a holiday. If you have to drive, you can.
Mm-hmm.
But the guys in the back might as well go to sleep.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. When I first saw that, that's the first thing I thought of is like, wow, that's got to be difficult to be able to see around, through the back, when that's
right.
like that. But like you said, hopefully you don't have to drive it very far.
Right.
So.
And that other picture I sent you, the reason I did that was, heaven forbid that you've got the top up, there's 4 people in the car and something does happen. You can't get out of the car. So designing the top that the rear actually folds up and clears the back seats, people in the back can get out.
Okay, so they could, they're able to, so they just hit the release latch. You have the same latch there, I presume, as the stock car had. So you pop that, and then they can, and then it goes back farther than it did before, so they could actually climb out, is what you're saying, right?
It folds on top of itself to the front.
Okay.
And they can jump out, almost like a hatchback on a old Corvette, the old glass tops.
Right.
So, and that was done 100% for safety reasons, because something might happen.
Right.
And the people in the back can't reach the front door handles that easily.
Well, yeah, I'm sure they can't.
Right. So maybe it's a nice thing to put in electric poppers to open the doors, but that takes more skill, and not sure I can do all that.
Well, it's an incredible skill that you had to be able to do this as well. I mean, how many other people helped you with this build? I know you said you made a lot of this yourself, but you had to have some help.
I had the one welder friend of mine. He did the welding. The body shop did the finish painting.
Okay.
And at my brother's factory where I did the work, he had 2 guys that worked on the Prowler at the time, doing Prowler instrument panels. And after I bought the car, I drove it in there and I says, okay, guys, have fun. Take it all apart.
Yeah, I saw those photos. I saw the photos of just the bare frame left behind. I mean, there's almost nothing left of the car.
So they went at it. They unbolted everything, which was straight unbolting. And after I stretched it, had it welded back together, had the other tub put on, I said, okay, guys, have fun. Put the dash and everything back in. And they did the bolt works for taking the inside out.
Okay. But once they put all that back in there, you had to be involved to test everything, because you said you had to extend all the wiring and everything in there. So
I did. That was a freebie labor, because I was working at another job, and they had nothing to do in the factory, so they had fun.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's still amazing how much this you were able to do yourself, and just the quality work on this. I mean, I think somebody that didn't know the car, I bet you people that don't know this car would believe this is the way it was made from the factory. I mean, just the body work on there is so seamless. I can't even tell, especially the rocker panels there and the way you did the doors on the outside. I can't even tell. It's amazing.
It was kind of funny. The first show we took it to, a week after we had it done, is probably the biggest car show in our area. And I had taken this one and the yellow car, and purposely on the yellow car left the roof up, and on this one had the roof down. And I distinctly remember 2 guys came up and they looked for about 5 minutes, and they kept looking at them. Both of them, and then they finally came back to me and said, "There's something different about them, but we can't tell what it is."
They
Right?
couldn't
And I
tell
said,
the one had more seats.
I said, "Count the headrests." And then they said, "Son of a bitch, somebody stretched." But, you know, most people, I mentioned earlier that I had it at Cobo Hall
Mm-hmm.
for the Hot Rod Custom Show this year.
Yep.
And again, if it wasn't for the Lambo doors, people just walk by and say another Prowler.
Yeah, they don't look
They
at
do
it
not
closely enough to
click in.
tell. Yeah. So is there anything different under the hood, or is everything pretty much stock under
No,
there?
everything's stock under the hood. Still have an extra 5.7 Hemi that if I really get ambitious, I might get, but it doesn't need it. It
No.
might ruin the car doing that.
Yeah.
Doors are tall.
Yeah,
I think
they
that's
are.
got to be a record because I can reach 6'8" easy. I tried that. So those doors have to be about 8 feet up in the air.
Okay, so that gives people a general idea of just really how tall that is.
That's
'Cause
how
how
I
tall
like to reach.
you're reaching up about
That's
6'8", and it's still another couple,
another foot.
more than a foot higher than that.
You can check that website that I showed you that's got the Prowler on it. It's got a picture of my nephew on it, white T-shirt standing
Yeah.
beside the
Yeah, I
car.
remember seeing that photo. Okay.
He's 6'8" tall.
Oh, he's 6'8" himself?
He's 6'8" himself.
Wow.
That'll give you a real perspective on. So he likes the car because he fits in it. He puts the seat all the way back
Mm-hmm.
and takes it for a ride.
So the seat adjustments in the front are still the original? I mean, because like the front seat had the height adjustment and all that, so that's all still there?
Yep. That's right.
Okay.
The top mechanism was kind of interesting because when the top is folded down, it has to be in the rear of the car. Yet when it's up to get the latch and the window seal and everything to work, the whole top has to be in the forward position. So
Okay.
the top is built on a set of hinges, scissor arms. And I don't know if
Okay.
I can, with the sunlight, show them. There, they're starting to appear.
Okay.
There's a set of scissor arms in
Oh, okay.
the doorpost.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see that.
So if you can imagine where the normal top would be, it would end up right here by my hand normally.
Yeah, okay.
So it takes that whole mounting point where the top is bolted on
Yeah,
and it moves to the back.
okay.
So when you fold it up, the mounting point is here in the back and everything folds up. You put everything up, you swing the mounting point to the front,
Okay.
unfold the front like you normally would and hook it on.
Okay, so it's a more of a two-step process to get the top up. Okay.
And when you move it ahead to the front position,
Mm-hmm.
what you actually do is stretch the back of the top
Okay.
because the top would normally end right behind the back seats.
Yep.
So I added another bar, and you have to put in side braces, and you have to snap them in because there's no room in the back to put them in.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So you snap in those braces, which
Mm-hmm.
extend the top to full length,
Okay.
and now the whole thing folds like a great big top off the back.
Okay. Well, thank you a lot, Tony. This is great.
Thank
You were
you
able to do
for
this
doing
one
this
and the other
again.
video for me. I got 2 good episodes here to work with, so
Yeah.
it'll take me,
We'll see how you make out. If you
Yeah.
have any questions, you got my number.
Okay. All right, Tony.
Okay, take care.
Thanks a lot, Tony. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Okay, bye.